If you're looking for amazing content, but you're pinching your pennies right now, don't worry, you still got options available. Howdy, hey folks, welcome back to the Wednesday Word. Today we're going to talk about how to create great content when your budget's a little tight. So if you saw a LinkedIn post I did recently around a certain company offering essentially pennies for managing a whole content program, you know this kind of stuff can get under my skin. Now, while that post might have explored some really wild expectations around content management and content professionals, there are a lot of great agency leaders and marketing professionals out there who are looking to hire excellent freelancers and pay them a competitive rate. But if you've been in, especially the tech sector right now, you're seeing the after effects of a lot of economic troubles. Layoffs.fyi recently announced that we've passed the 33,000 person layoff mark for 2024 already. This comes after over 250,000 folks were laid off in 2023. So there's a lot changing right now in the tech space, and you're starting to see this ripple out to other industries that you, as an agency leader or a company leader, might be affected by. When the mantra is do more with less, how do you actually accomplish that, especially when you're trying to price some work you need to get done to attract good freelancers? Well, the way I see it right now, you've got 4 options, and we'll walk through each of those 4 here in this video and when they might be the most appropriate for the kind of work that you're doing. So first up, we have the stuff that ChatGPT, Writer.ai, Copy AI, we have the stuff that those AI technology tools can do. So somewhere in there is a range of $20 a month for a GPT plus, all the way up to $100 a month plus for some of these more niche writing tools. So if your goal for content creation is getting a bunch of stuff done, the AI tools can actually be really helpful in that regard. Just remember that AI is going to be a fine short-term solution, but don't depend on it for long-term strategy. Ahrefs' Ryan Law recently put out an article detailing how one company tried to shortcut some of this process using AI, and they got slapped pretty hard for it. So if you're going to use AI for some of the stuff you're writing, focus on really basic how-to articles, because that's where these tools really do the best. This is going to be the most cost-effective option if you really strap for cash. All in all, AI, yes, can produce some writing, but lower your expectations internally by a ton, by an order of magnitude than what you have from a human writer. As long as you're okay with that trade-off, go ahead and use them. If you have a little more space in your budget, then the second option I'd recommend is go check out organizations like Composely or Verblio or contentwriters.org. These kind of content shops can help you mass produce content that's a little bit more tailored to what you need to represent your organization's unique standpoints, your subject matter experts' expertise, and some of those extra little bits that make it a little bit better than AI writing. And typically you're looking at maybe a few $100s a month up to $1,000 a month for producing significant quantities of content. Now, that's going to be more of the quantity game, so you're playing kind of the same space that AI is in, and depending on who you're paired with the organization as a writer, you may be getting stuff of equivalent quality, maybe a little bit better than what GPT can produce. So the key to those kind of relationships is to be very communicative with the organization, be very clear about what you need, and provide detailed content briefs like you would any other freelancer. The more information you can provide, the better a partnership you can form, and the better results you're going to get from an organization like that. Thirdly, I would start looking at the organization you have internally and seeing if there are other folks who could potentially upskill or give them a shot at doing some of this. I'm not saying take the intern and turn him from 20 hours to 60 hours a week. That's not a viable solution. But maybe other folks on your marketing team or others who touch marketing, perhaps they have some writing capabilities that you're not aware of. Sometimes your budget just can't allow for a real investment in the kind of talent you're looking for. And that's okay. It's recognizing that you need to build the use case internally and prove out the value of what content can deliver for your organization. So run a few pilot tests, start proving out the concept of writing more content at scale. And this is going to take you a while. You're probably looking at 3, 6, 9 months, maybe longer, depending on the size of your organization, how adept you are at moving content, how bought in executive leadership is already. Really, it starts with a couple good pilot tests on a couple key topics that you get executive buy-in from. Build out content strategies and then execute those pieces internally, knowing it's probably going to take you a lot longer than what you've planned originally because you're juggling a lot of other responsibilities. But emerging from that, you'll know what kind of capacity you really need to hire for and be much more targeted in your approach of who you bring into the organization. Now, if you're really set on hiring freelancers, if you're going, Alex, I got the rest of that figured out, how do I hire good people and what do I pay them? That's a great question, and the annoying answer is, it depends. Where I think a lot of job descriptions, especially for freelancers or contract talent, go wrong is they take this very expansive approach and try to capture too many things and expectations for a contractor to come in and do. The one I referenced at the start of the video wants you to come in and develop the PR campaigns themselves, do lots of detailed research, build out additional pieces outside of it. So there's no real clearly defined scope of expectations of what goes into the job. And where the real mismatch existed in this was the pay scale was tied to the word count produced. So if you're doing a lot of this extra research and organization, administration, and campaign development, that's not getting reflected in the end result in the payment side. So a big piece of when you bring in a freelancer and price them out is understanding what you need them to do and what the best pricing model is for that. If it really is as simple as, hey, we have this content brief sitting around, we need someone to just execute on this, then yes, a per word rate or even a per hour rate is appropriate for that kind of work. But if you're looking to add a real strategic element to part of the job description and you want them to come in and provide these additional pieces of value, you're looking at either a per hour or likely a retainer rate. And what that rate is exactly depends heavily on the industry you're working in, the quality of writing you're looking for, how many other writers there might be, how specialized are you. For example, a specialist focused on AI operations for backend observability, it's going to be a really small pool to pick from. So they get to charge higher rates because they know there's only so many folks who can produce high quality content at scale for you. Conversely, if you're doing a bunch of general how-to articles and you're expecting more of that generalist, you usually can find those at lower rates because you have a larger pool of talent to pick from. In the end, it's really a question of supply and demand as basic economics. For those specialists, you could be looking at anything from 50 cents a word to $1 a word plus. And a lot of those folks probably are not charging by word. You're looking at retainers in $1,000 to up to $5,000 a month. So the question becomes, how much is this content worth to me and my organization? Answer that question, look at how much time you're going to save. Where are you positioning this content? Is it being used to attract leads? Are you using it later in the funnel to help close deals? Can you attach a revenue number to the outcomes that come from producing that kind of content? This is where top-line metrics like website traffic and conversions on that top of the funnel can help start answering that question for you. But the more you tie content's outcomes to business outcomes and revenue outcomes, you're going to have an easier time selling your internal leadership on spending more money on content. Now, it's okay if you can't pay $5,000 a month or more. There's lots of opportunities out there. There's lots of freelancers who will come and support you at those lower amounts. When you're faced with that situation, it really comes down to changing your expectations from what you're looking for some of these folks. Even the most talented writer has to prioritize their work by the return on investment for themselves. It's not to say they don't care about your work, but if you're paying 10x less than someone else, they're doing some mental math on where exactly your content slots in there. There are also a lot of good guides out there to give you some ranges of what these kinds of projects typically cost. The American Writers and Artists Institute puts out an annual one every year with like 80 different types of projects in them. Go download that and check it out and see if your prices are anywhere in that range. If you're a great agency partner, that goes a long way to helping freelancers feel confident in their abilities and their desire to work with you. There's a value exchange happening on both sides of this equation. As long as you uphold your side, your freelancer will uphold theirs, and you're going to have a great working relationship and produce some amazing content, no matter the budget. And that's it for this Wednesday Word. I'll see you soon for the next one. Thanks, gang.